I told you he was scary. I feel so vindicated. Greetings, comic lovers, and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, reviews comics new and old, to history to anecdotes, really wherever our whims take us. So I think I may have become a living meme, because time of recording, everybody's talking about this. So everybody. And then there's me. Talking about this. Yep, the Ten-Eyed Man. A villain who was long ago written off as a joke and a terrible idea. Well, he's made a return as something eerier. He's been making that return-ish for a while. They redesigned him, but now he's front and center. And well, I want to explore his earlier appearances and how we got to here, and why this element that they brought forth has always been there, buried beneath the surface in that awkward transitional phase between the Silver Age and the Bronze Age. It's not gonna be hard to track, because on the first pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths canon, he appeared for the full stories 3 times, and then a couple more where he died. I feel like you can say that about most characters if you ask how they're doing. He died, then he got better, he's fine now. And he only had a small presence in the New 52, so he's one of my favorite things. Obscure. I know, I have a problem. I'm Sasha. Come get weird and do the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Join us in this comic book journey, because we really don't know where we're going. It's really random. The Ten-Eyed Man is a character many encounter as an "oh man, you won't believe this ridiculous character" anecdote. A villain with eyes for fingertips. He first debuted in Batman 226 in 1970 and was created by Frank Robbins, Irv Novick, and Dick Giordano. And they really try to hype it up. The man with 10 eyes. And also a golden gun, because it sounds kind of like a James Bond title. No Time to Die, which had the comma in the wrong place. It's actually a pretty cool cover. They have him hovering over Batman like he's a puppeteer with how they have his hands splayed. There's an excellent use of darkness employed as well. Also enjoying the very pink bat logo I can't even see after staring at it for so long. Introducing the most devastating opponent that Batman has ever faced. Okay, calm down that hyperbole. You know it can't live up to that. I'm just gonna be disappointed. Who is this dread creature that defies the laws of science and society? Society says no eyes on fingers. Actually, who am I kidding? They probably do say that. We open on a warehouse robbery. This gang really wants to steal some furs. It really is the 1970s. They tried to bribe the night watchman, but he wasn't having it, and they're just belittling the heck out of him for it on the opening page. A Vietnam vet who's too straight to take a payoff. Thanks for giving me his backstory. That's gonna come up a lot, the Nom stuff. It looks like he's reading a book on the science of birds, but really there's a mirror in it so he can see behind him. But I like to think he's also really reading it. He just loves birds. He can hang out with the penguin. This is Philip Reardon, and he has excellent fighting skills and an indentation in his forehead where a grenade fragment hit him, so his nickname was Three-Eyed Reardon. There's some interesting mysticism floating around the Ten-Eyed Man, and it's there from the start, but they don't really go into it. Like, this injury is positioned exactly where a third eye would be in chakra representation. A third eye is associated with achieving a higher state of consciousness. See auras, precognition, astral projection, entering your mind palace. There's talk of opening the third eye. It's been linked to the pineal gland and used to great effect in horror sci-fi concepts. Here it's just kind of there. Anyway, he thinks it's hit in the head with a brick by the heist leader, Jeff, or well, Lil Jeff, who says he wishes that this watchman was on their team because he was a one-man army. But he wasn't brick-proof, was he? So they go in and set some fuses to blow because they're gonna get them some fur. They're gonna hit the Apple Bottoms factory after. But their heist is a no-go because Batman shows up, because I guess there is nothing else more pressing going on in Gotham tonight. It's a slow night. However, Reardon is staggering around and he's all dazed and his vision is blurred and he's quasi having a Nom flashback. And so when he sees Batman, he doesn't clue into the fact that it's the Dark Knight, but instead thinks it's one of the goons who's robbing the place and sets out to stop him. Batman, in the meantime, doesn't understand why this person is trying to stop him from putting out this fuse. He's very confused. And you can't spell confused without fuse. Yes, it's very flimsy like that joke. Now, Reardon only realizes it's Batman right before the fuse reaches its destination and detonates, blinding them both. Now, Lil Jeff was so impressed by watching Reardon go toe-to-toe with Batman, he decides he needs him in his gang, so he's gonna go take him to get his eyes fixed. He's also already got a nickname for him, Big Boy. I hate it. Oh, he also still calls him Three-Eye next page. Pick a name, Lil Jeff. Batman is also extremely discombobulated and focused on getting out, so no one will see him like that, because he knows that if they do, Gotham's villains will go into overdrive. He can't drive, so he calls Alfred, who comes and picks him up and drives him home. Always be safe. Three Eyes is the most valuable asset we've collected on this heist. I mean, I guess. He works for me. I'll do anything to get him fixed up. Wow, this gang is poorly run, but very supportive. Reardon is convinced that this is Batman's fault somehow. Not the gang who broke in, Batman's. Sounds about right for Gotham. He also starts cracking because the doctor says in front of him that he's been permanently blinded. However, that doctor knows a colleague who's got some experimental processes that maybe they can try out. You know, your usual mad scientist friend. He's the best. In fact, he's so good that that's also where Alfred is taking Batman. Now I see Dr. Engstrom is playing both sides. Does Batman know this? Is this neutral turf? The Mad Eye Doctor doctor. Sorry, the mad neuro-ophthalmologist. Batman is told that he will recover, but he'll need to cover his eyes and wear some black contacts so that he doesn't strain them. There is a cool scene where they're both in the waiting room, but Batman can't see Reardon. What's wrong, Jeff? Why are you tensing up? Wow, already on first name terms. The camaraderie. You know what though? Alfred isn't disguised, so if little Jeff was smart, he could just track him. You know what? I'm not gonna help Jeff. He needs to figure it out for himself. So this doctor examines Reardon and feels he has a seventh sense. See, that mysticism is kind of floating around there. And so he feels because of this, it's gonna work. The experimental procedure that he has in mind. Reardon, for his part, doesn't even wait to hear what it is. He just wants some eyes. He really should have asked for more details. Did Jeff cover this, or was the doctor just so thrilled that someone would let him try this that he did it for free? Moment of truth, eh, Doc? But why'd you bandage up my fingers? They weren't hurt. Because from now on, they will serve as your eyes. Your new eyes. 10 of them. Did he have to put optic nerves on all 10 of the fingers? Was 2 an option? Why did you do this? I have questions. So in this, it's less like he has actual eyes on his hands and more that the sense of sight has been melded with the sense of touch, so he can still see, as it were. You don't get any panels of him seeing, so you don't know what the vision actually looks like, so you can imagine. Doc, I can see more than I ever did before. You and me at the same time. There's something so horrifying about this concept, and please hear me out before it gets silly. What happens real fast, and for some of you has already happened. Stay with me. Not only would he be able to do things like see the doctor and himself simultaneously, but his other fingers would still be active. He would see so much more than that, all fractured, fragmented, a perception and way of seeing that our brains weren't meant to comprehend, all that data just rushing into you in a way that you weren't built to perceive, almost like an insect's vision potentially. You could alter what you were gazing at, finger by finger on top, creating these odd, interconnected, interwoven, meshing layers. It could drive you mad. Not to mention, everything would be too close. Touch a person, feel and see their skin at the same time. To me, it's hard to imagine what it would be like perception-wise, but it's very fascinating. I was about to say inconceivable, but I'm clearly conceiving of it. Also, the next issue that gets into the fact that there are no eyelids. They're always open, always seeing, all the time. To never be able to blink or shut oneself off, to always have to see or place your hands in something but still be feeling. It has the potential to be scary, beautiful, and tragic. So let's watch all that potential get squandered and fall right into how silly it also is, because there is also a really silly element. Now, Reardon feels he's been made into a freak and is bitter that Batman, who is having a consultation a room over, is going to be getting his regular sight back. So he wants revenge. He's gotta pay an eye, for another eye, and another, and another, and enough. So he knocks Batman out with his cane, which knocks out his contacts. Batman had a system going where Alfred was his eyes. He was watching through these lenses they'd put in, and he was telling where to go because Alfred is good people. Okay, so look, see how he's holding the cane here? This is a key problem with the 10-eyed man. They introduced this concept but don't seem to know how to implement it. If he was holding the cane like this, all he would see was cane. He wouldn't see Batman. He would have to have already choreographed where it was going, or remembered it, and then hopefully didn't move. Also, they're really inconsistent with whether something hurts him or not. Sometimes he touches something and it's, ow, my eyes, and other times it's, I'm just grabbing everything and it's totally fine. Then people make jokes like, how does he drink tea? How can he hold the cup? It's a valid question. How does he drink tea with a straw? I don't know. He's learned to use his feet. You see, there's an opportunity here to implement this whole seventh sense idea, but they don't fully go for it. They still just have him move normally. Having eyes on your fingers would completely altered how you moved all the time. Look at how much I gesture with my hands when I talk. I'd be doomed. Oh well. Anyway, Reardon is planning to blind Batman permanently, but he's woken up by Alfred hitting a gong that Aunt Harriet left them that goes through the earpiece and wakes him up, and the fight is on. Come on, take me, baby. Whoa, 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 whoa. Different genre. Save that for later. That's after hours stuff. I got 10 eyes now in the place the 2 you robbed me of. Huh, you're a hard boy to convince. I'm all eyes. I'm gonna pound yours out of existence. Please stop. I can only stay out of the gutter for so long. Batman figures out that he has eyes in his fingers because he's hinting hard enough, and so he manages to knock him over, which causes him to use his hand to break a fall, which hurts the eyes. But Batman's vision still isn't recovered or great either, so he has to pull a really desperate maneuver where he rips off his cape and cowl and covers Reardon's other hand with it. And then he manages to knock him out. The deranged victim of his own paranoia. I actually think he's more a victim of medical experimentation. Why are you supporting this doctor, Bruce? I wouldn't say you create a monster, Doc. But 10-eyed man could be the deadliest killing machine ever created if I hadn't stopped him cold. And that's why I'm shutting you down. That's how the sentence ends, right? No, it isn't. No, it ends with Reardon escaping. Also, the deadliest killing machine? He can just see from lots of angles. He can't even really hold things. He has to like cup them in the center, rest them on the cusp. Is that what you call this part of the hand? The cusp? What do you call this? Maybe you really get into the dual sensation, like you're holding the peach and feeling the fuzz and using the other hand to see the peach. I'm thinking about this way too much. You could just draw such cool, trippy vision panels for him. So the Ten-Eyed Man did come back in issue 231. And oh my word, this one is rough. The man who saw with his fingers. So as you can see from this cover, they represent it almost like a mirror, not his actual eyes and his fingers. It's more presented as perception. Same creative team for this one. They did try to make him happen. Reardon is lamenting how he will never see normally again and wants to take down Batman, who has actually worked his way into his PTSD-ridden nightmares about Nom. This is the one where you see that he has to sleep with gloves because it's the only way that he experienced darkness to fall asleep, but then when he wakes up, he thinks that he's still blind for a few moments. It's all really upsetting. But enough about that, time to get silly. He decides that he needs to take on Batman on his own turf, and by that he means Nom. So he goes to train as a civilian sky marshal. He aces all of the tests and exams and gets the job, and his co-workers seem fond of him and impressed by him. This is so that when they take off, he can hijack the plane on his first day on the job when he's up there and then make them go to Vietnam. This so that he'll have hostages and they'll have to summon Batman. Okay, but why did he have to be a civilian sky marshal for this? I get this is supposed to be explanation for how he got the gun there, but there were other ways that were less convoluted. All this showed me was that he had career options and that he was okay to work with. So Batman goes to Vietnam to face the Ten-Eyed Man. I'm keeping this ignition key. Excuse me, that's a bat ignition key? So the whole reason he wanted him to be here was because there were leftover booby traps from Nom, and that's it. He just wanted to use those traps. It has nothing to do with the fingers or their perception at all. They don't work that in. In fact, for most of this, you'd forget that it was even a thing, because again, he's just holding objects, touching things, swinging from ropes. But it's hardly surprising that he gets taken down. He tries to set up a magnesium flare to blind Batman because he's still on that, but he hides his hands, and hence that tips off Batman, and so he's able to stop him. And so he's captured, but he's back, and the short-lived, and I do mean short-lived, 2-issue miniseries Man-Bat. This from 1976. The dates are slightly off on Comixology. They date it as 1977, but then give 1976 release dates. Oh, Comixology, why are you this way? Didn't make it past all of the cancellation. And there was some other behind-the-scenes stuff too. Ditko was involved. Now this is the issue where Reardon gets that iconic outfit and really goes hard with the Ten-Eyed Man with all the eyes going down the front. They showed it on The Brave and the Bold, of course, because that show loved the Silver Age. I was just very concerned when I first saw this costume that it also had 5 eyes going down the back. I was ready to get up in arms, like, excuse me, he's the Ten-Eyed Man, not the 5-eyed man. Now in this comic, he's hired to take down Man-Bat for reasons. They keep going on about how deadly he is, but never explain how or why. He just is. 10 eyes. Think about it, because they're never gonna tell you. Again, missed opportunity with any kind of that mystic connection. I don't know why that was the mystic. The most horrifying part of this comic are the conditions that he's kept in Gotham Penitentiary. They keep him with a sense of sight deprived at all times. The handbox is a maximum security measure, Mr. Lovell. Because of his special abilities, Reardon has virtual 360 vision. Without the box, escape would be child's play for him. How though? This is cruel. Well, Mr. Lovell agrees and says his civil liberties are being violated, and so he gets paroled. But then they want him to take down Man-Bat because Mr. Lovell's really upset because Blockbuster killed his daughter and the heroes aren't doing enough, and can't the Ten-Eyed Man just live? So why does Reardon do this? At this point, he's over his whole Batman blinded me obsession. Well, despite in the first appearance the doctor saying that tissue rejection was impossible, tissue rejection is happening. He's going blind, so Mr. Lovell says that, well, if he helps him, then maybe they'll look into a cure for him. Reardon appears to have a Disney death in this, falling from a high place. He lived though, and you hear that he's hiring out his services to people, again, because he's super useful for reasons. 10 eyes. But then he got killed, Priceless and Infinite Earths, and he briefly saw him again in Animal Man. The New 52 is a bit confusing because you're gonna see him in the classic costume and out of it. The one that he's in the darker books like Batman Eternal and onward, he's wearing this almost executioner style garb with a hood. He first appears here in Batman Eternal 15. And then in the fun books like Harley Quinn and the like, he's in the classic costume. And usually there he's just a throwaway panel or joke. In the Batman books, while he appears more sporadically, he's very different. He's much more unstable, and he seems to have been driven mad by this extrasensory perception, which it's no longer clear if it's actually eyes or not. It also seems to result from the lack of sleep he gets, again because he says that the eyes never close. And they are playing in the realm that he has some kind of power. They also seem to have altered the origin, because they introduced in the New 52 a cult of the Ten-Eyed Man, and the members have eyes tattooed on all their fingertips, and they hunt demons. Was Reardon one of them? It's kind of vague. But in the Batman Eternal plot, he was trying to open an interdimensional portal, but he had no tattooed eyes, but now he might? And well, it's Infinite Frontier, so when it comes to canon, I just say yes. Time of recording. I mean, which version would you prefer? Cult member or experimented on by Mad Doctor. It's in that soft reboot when we go from the New 52 to Rebirth that he starts to become more menacing, specifically actually at the tail end leading into Infinite Frontier, especially after Arkham is blown up. Again, Arkham gets destroyed in these things. This brings us to Arkham City, The Order of the World, written by Dan Waters with art by Danny, where it appears he will feature prominently, and they've already dialed up the awkward movements and eeriness of the character. And the eyes, the way they depict them on the hands, is very disconcerting. Like, are they tattoos or actual eyes? You are scared with this finger. I know. It sees through your head to your thoughts. And with this finger, I can see your face. This finger says you are lying. He ends up taking out this man's jaw without leaving a trace. It's so creepy. So yes, the tin-eyed man, he's come a long way, and somebody else thinks he's menacing and is gonna do something with him. I feel very validated. Even if the design is reminiscent of a couple of other things, when I saw it, I instantly thought of Pan's Labyrinth. You could do a really cool fusion here if you wanted to, some kind of melding of both versions. That ESP, perhaps a bit less instability, perhaps some like scarring on the fingers, but not actual eyes. But that's totally an aesthetic and mileage varies thing. What do you think of the design of the update? Too much? Maybe dial it back just a tit? Can Reardon have some happiness? More ESP and less of the trimmings? Or less ESP, but literal eyes and hijinks? Something else? Now, of course, some can't get past the silly. When I told my husband I was doing this video, he just started instantly making jokes about all the things the tin-eyed man couldn't do, no matter how many powers or contortionist lessons you give him. How does he eat a sandwich? How does he wash his hands? What if he forgets and touches a door from you? Wouldn't forget. How could you forget? Everything would be coming through your fingers. I really think you would just completely alter how you lived your life, because your thoughts would alter, because you were seeing things differently, because how you see the world is part of your thought process. Yes, I know, it is really silly. The jokes are there, I see them, and they're there on multiple levels. Let me have this. Some feel this concept just is not very workable. Go back to the drawing board, try again. What do you think of the tin-eyed man? Are you feeling the potential? Do you like a darker version? Or can you not see it? Too silly for your blood? Share your thoughts down below, and while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking this time today to spend discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.